Hi and welcome to Hips 101. So in your first hip video, we're gonna work on rotation. Hopefully you've watched the shoulder one already and you've heard all the explanations about everything that we are doing and why. Make sure to do the full body warm up. If you haven't done the shoulder one, actually, I'm gonna recommend you do that one before watching this so you understand the logic behind what we're doing. And then we'll get into this. Make sure that you do your warm up, which is the warm up video. That should be at the top of this section because that's gonna make sure that your joints are prepared to do this. We already did yoga for this, so you should be all right. But we're gonna stand and give actually, I'm gonna have you lie down to do this one, and we're gonna give the hip a little more extra love before we get going. So you're gonna lie down with your left ear onto here. This should make it a little more cozy. Mm-hmm. He's trying to kick me as I pull him back. It's like, hey, I was on the mat first. Okay, so have your knees at 90 and then stretch your arms out in front of you and clasp your hands. So the hand clasp is so you can create some tension for your body. So I like your pelvis to be a statue, your rib cage to be a statue, no movement. And then let me see how close you can bring your right knee to your right armpit without your pelvis coming up. That's pretty good. Now, lift the knee up towards the ceiling and externally rotate. See how much you can turn that thigh in the socket. Good. And then internally rotate the leg and take it back behind you. Now see how far you can take your thigh bone back behind you, like you're trying to kick me with your foot, and then lower the leg down and bring it next to your left knee. In reverse, kick the leg back behind you. See how far you can reach without the pelvis moving, and then lift the leg up in internal rotation. Externally rotate your femur. Bring your knee towards your armpit and back down. One more round, knee to armpit. Lift up in external rotation, spin that thigh out as you take it up. Internally rotate as you take the knee back behind you. And bring it next to your left. Reach it back behind you again. Lift up, externally rotate, and knee to armpit. Stack your knees. Change sides. So I found that myself being a yoga practitioner and many yogis, that we're terrible at this. That we can do this really well, but at the expense of letting the pelvis move with it. We've gotten really used to like, oh yeah, I can take my leg, but the pelvis moves. So without your pelvis moving, you might find like, oh, there's some deficits in how much I can abduct and bring into flexion. All right, so bring your knee up towards your armpit and then lift it up to the ceiling as you externally rotate it. Then internally rotate it as you take the leg back behind you. Good. Lower it down and bring it back to starting position. And then go in reverse. Take the leg straight back. Lift it up to the ceiling. Externally rotate as you go knee to armpit. And back down. Knee to armpit. Externally rotate as you go up to ceiling. Internally rotate as you take it back behind you. See how much extension you get? Can you take it back 1 inch further? Oh, good. Bring it next to your bottom knee. Back into extension. Externally rotate as you take it up. Knee to armpit. And lower down. Okay, good. Now let's go and work on our internal rotation and external rotation. So we're gonna see if after having done that, you have the 3 betters after that. So you're gonna come into a 90 and 90 position. And I think you can do 90 and 90 just fine, where You have, for example, your legs like that. Okay, so I'm going to show a variation for someone who doesn't have a lot of ability to open up their leg to the side. So I'm going to show a variation where, because when you're upright in this position, it requires a lot of opening in the groin. So if you have less opening, you're going to forget about the front leg being in the 90-degree angle. Just focus on the back leg, and then you can even lower down like this, because this doesn't make me stretch the groins as much. So then once you get into the position, you're going to start to turn your chest towards the back leg knee. So mine looks like this, and we're trying to keep that knee grounded, internally rotate as we turn the belly towards the knee. But this one's got to be at 90 degrees. And then the other thing, bring your left knee forward. I didn't explain this very well. So you want a 90-degree angle between your thighs before you start, and then you want a 90-degree angle here and a 90-degree angle here. But for the stiffer person, they lessen this angle. But you still try to maintain this angle of 90 degrees. Bring that knee a little further forward. There you go. Okay, now turn to face your left leg. And then this is going to internally rotate as you turn your belly this way. There you go. So basically we're just trying to get this femur into an internally rotated position, and then we're going to train it from there. All right. So we're just hanging out in the stretch. Do you feel a stretch at all there? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Hanging out in that stretch. We've been there for about a minute, I'm guessing so far, if you already figured out how to get into the position. All right, so now that we've been in that stretch, we're going to start to sweep this foot down into the floor. We'll do the pales contraction. So you're going to try to rotate your femur in order to drive this ankle down into the ground, like you're sweeping it down and across. And we'll ramp it up from 10%, 20%. Breathe into your belly. Use your whole body to start to rotate that femur. Turn those muscles. Work up to 50% and then pin it right there. And we'll hold for 10. Oh yeah, you're really pushing that down. I shouldn't be able to lift your foot up off the floor because you're pushing down. Rotate from that hip. And then slowly ramp it down. Good. Now we're going to try to rotate the other way. So rotate so that you could lift your foot up off the ground, but because you're in a stretched position, it shouldn't actually lift. But rotate that femur in 10%. Don't let the pelvis move with it. 20, 30, spin that thigh bone in the socket. 40, if you can go up to 50. And hold for 3. Squeeze from your belly. Rotate that femur. 2. 1. Good. Slowly relax. And now you're going to see if you can get into a deeper stretch by keeping this femur here and then rotating the pelvis more this way. That makes the femur internally rotate more. Remember, if your adductors, this inner leg stuff, feels like it's getting overstretched, you got to adjust. You can go into elbows. You can bring that bottom foot, right foot closer to your left knee. Okay, we're gonna go for round 2. Start to rotate like you're gonna sweep this foot through the floor, drive the ankle down, rotate that femur 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, and hold. Breathe into your belly, squeeze. Five more seconds. Good, slowly ramp it down. Change the direction, 10%, 20%, don't let the pelvis move. Rotate that femur. I'm pushing your ankle down, but you're trying to push back into me. 10 seconds. Good, slowly. So in any of these exercises, if you have a history of hip issues, just be really careful with how much you're dialing up. There should be no closing angle pain. If that's happening, then just don't do as much of the percentage. Do a low percentage. Find a stretch position that feels safe. All right. Should we do the other side now? Let's do the other side. So let's see. We'll make a 90-degree angle there, here, 90-degree angle between the thighs, and then a 90-degree angle with this situation. Does it feel okay on this hip to sit like that? That groin feels fine?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now turn towards your, oh yeah, don't crush his tail. Start to rotate your pelvis towards your, and your belly towards your right knee until you feel a stretch. And at the same time, the skin from here is rotating this way. So you can see Amber's just getting into her stretch. She's doing her parasympathetic breathing, in for 4 counts, out for 8 counts, trying to let the body find a little bit deeper range of motion in the stretch. Now that we've been hanging out there and we found this new range of motion, let's start to train in it. So the first isometric, drive the foot down, rotate the femur, 10%, 20%, don't let the hip change positions, breathe into your belly, solidify through your whole body, just the femur is rotating, work up to 50, 10 seconds. Keep it pinned right at 50, don't go above or below. Slowly ramp down the effort and then rotate the other way. So I'm pushing your foot down into the ground, but you're trying to lift up into me, but make it come from your femur. Ramp up to 40. If it's safe, ramp up to 50 and hold. Solidify. Don't let that butt rise up with it. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And slowly start to ramp it down. Slow breath in. Slower breath out. See if you can sink a little deeper into the stretch. And we're taking a break just to rebuild the strength for the next round. Do you feel super strong now? All right. You feel strong at home? Let's do this. Rotate that sucker. Get that rotational deficit so that we can get all better range of motion. 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50. Drive that sucker through the ground. Solidify your whole body. Feel it deep in the socket. Visualize your bones spinning. It should be external rotators turning on at this point. And then slowly ramp it down. Without your pelvis moving, internally rotate. These muscles should kick in to make this happen. Rotate that femur. Don't let the butt move with it. 10, 20, 30. Work up to 50. Breathe into your belly, solidify, and turn. Visualize it spinning, spinning, spinning. And slowly see if you can sink a little bit deeper. Do you have any questions about that work so far?
Me? No.
Okay. How'd that last one feel?
Good.
So at home, I hope you can feel that you could go a little bit deeper into the stretch now safely. And per usual with the 101 classes, if this is your third time doing it, you can add a third round, but otherwise just stick with the second one. You don't want to try to overtrain the hip. Okay, now let's try doing a little test for capsule car. So lie down onto your back. Bring your right leg up into, no, we just train the right leg. So bring your left leg up into tabletop. And let me see how much you can, without your knee moving out to the side or in, see how much you can internally rotate your femur. Find your end, get one more degree, and then see how much you can externally rotate. Find your end, get one more degree, internally rotate, and externally rotate. Release that, change sides. Without your knee moving, keep your knee stacked right over top of your hip and internally rotate, other way. Oh, but don't let your pelvis move. And externally rotate. Internally rotate. Find your end, get one more degree. So yeah, yogis were really good at this. Like if the teacher tells me, oh, I got to internally rotate, like I'll use my whole body to make it happen. Change directions. So these little cheats, as we polish up and improve the range of motion in the hip and the shoulder, you're gonna start to notice in all of your poses a big change. So this work is so important, and I know it's boring as hell. Come back to center. It's definitely not as sexy as like stepping from triangle to half moon and then doing like a handstand or whatever. But this is where you're really gonna like hack your body. Okay, so the next one, there's a couple different ways we can set this up. You can do it from pigeon. You can do it with your leg up on a table. Like if you do, we're working on external rotation now, so you can put your leg up on a table. For the sake of today's class, we're just gonna go ankle over knee and then hug your leg in until you feel a stretch. Now, because I know that Amber won't feel as much of a stretch as she could in this position because she has really good external rotation and flexion, then if she was to train this, I would have her like go into a deep pigeon or that table one and bring the leg up pretty high. You know, she can even like stack it up on a couple blocks until she feels the stretch. But just for the sake of solidarity for everybody, I feel like this could be a good position to start to train in. All right, so what we're gonna do in this position is you're going to start to, well, we gotta hang out in the stretch. So you get the minute, over a minute of stretching. Can you feel a stretch in your outer butt stuff, even if it's just a mild stretch? Okay, so that's what you're looking for. This outer butt stuff, you're trying to feel a stretch sensation. All right, so we're in the stretch position, hung out there, we're ready to start to train. So the first rotation that you're gonna do is driving into your left leg. So you're gonna try to rotate, and as you rotate, you're pushing into the leg, ramp it up 10%, 20, and so that's you're internally rotating your femur to try to drive the right ankle into your left leg. Work up to 50. Visualize that femur rotating in the socket. And slowly ramp it down. And now externally rotate. So turn that femur in the socket so that you could act like you're gonna lift your right foot off your left knee, but because you're in such a deep stretch, it probably won't move. But rotate it as if you could, and you should feel all this outer butt stuff grip to try to rotate that femur. Ramp it up 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50. Pin it at 50 unless this is your third or fourth time doing it, then you can work up to your safest, greatest effort. And slowly ramp it down. One more time. Internally rotate. Progressive angle, you're increasing the angle that you'll be able to go into the stretch by pushing and resisting. Ramp it up towards 50%. Good, nice breath for tension, Amber. Breathe into your core, feel the whole body irradiate. Ramp it down now, slowly. And then change the direction. So now you're trying to externally rotate, so you're strengthening yourself in this range now. You're working those external rotators so that you can hold yourself in this range. Give me your safest, greatest effort. Pin it there, hold for 5. And slowly ramp it down. Let's try those capsule cars again. So set your left foot down, right knee up in the table. Max out your internal rotation and then your external rotation. Internally rotate, try to keep your knee stacked right over your hip. Don't let your pelvis hike. Externally rotate. And release. All right, it's the last part. I'm very sad, but I wish we could just keep doing this all day. Cross your left ankle over your right knee and hug it in. Any questions about any of the work we've been doing? Because if you have a question, someone for sure has a question at home. You promise? We're just hanging out on a stretch, so. All right, I'm trying to think of other things they might need to know about this stuff. So you're focusing on that stretch that you're feeling in your outer hip. Breathe into that. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Use your parasympathetic breathing so that your body can relax more into the stretch. All right, let's train that sucker. Start to internally rotate. So you're driving your ankle into your right leg. feel or visualize that it's the deepest stuff in the hip joint turning. Ramp it up to your safest, greatest effort. Breathe into your belly, create tension through your whole body. And slowly ramp it down. Change the direction, externally rotate. So it'd be like I'm trying to pull your ankle away from you and you're rotating your femur so that your ankle comes closer. And slowly ramp it down. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. Last round. Start to ramp up your internal rotation. 10, 20, 30. Find your safest, greatest effort. Breathe into your belly. Irradiate. And slowly relax that. Change direction. 10, 20, 30. Externally rotate that femur. Turn, turn, turn. Safest, greatest effort. Breathe into your belly. I'm pulling your foot away from you, but you're trying to rotate back into my hand. Bring your ankle closer towards your face. Turn it from that hip socket. Yeah, there. Now it's coming on. And slowly release. Good. Let's go back to that first thing that we did. Lie down with your left ear on there. All right, so come into a side lying position, knees stacked at 90. Stretch your arms out in front of you, clasp your hands. So create tension through your core. Don't let your pelvis move. Let's see, bring your right knee up to your right armpit. Now, externally rotate as you abduct, and then see how much you can lift your knee up towards the ceiling. Then internally rotate as you take your leg back behind you. And then see how far you can take this knee back. And then start to lower the knee. See how far you can take it back there. And then bring it next to your left knee. Good, take it straight back. Lift it up towards the ceiling. Externally rotate. Knee to armpit. Knee back down. One more round like that, back and forth. That looks like a whole different hip.
Feels like one.
So it looks like you have a better mind-body connection with how you're moving it. It looks like you have more strength through the range, and you have a better range of motion. We got all three. Change sides. You could just flip over onto the other side. And now as you're doing these cars, I want you to pay close attention that you're not letting your left hip come closer towards you if it's your left leg that's moving right now. And then when you take the leg behind, just be careful that you don't let your buttocks come up into your lower back. Good, that's it, Amber. Nice job. That's the one right there where it really wants to sneak up. And that's the hard thing that we have. It's difficult for yogis to be able to get the extension without the pelvis moving or the lumbar moving to allow the extension. So the better you get at this work, the more range of motion you're going to have when you do all those like crescents, warrior ones, all that type of stuff. Dancer, if you've been doing the dancer pose. Stacy doesn't like it. Good work, Amber. Nice job at home. Ollie, thank you for sleeping. I recommend that after you do this work, if you have some time, so you did your warm-up, you do this video, and then you sandwich it with, bookend it rather with the breath work. And you can either do the sympathetic or the parasympathetic breathing technique, the breath holds or the calming breath. So depending on what you need for the day, do that. Thanks so much for joining, and let me know how it went for you. If you got the 3 categories, did you get better range of motion? Do you feel like you have more connection? Do you feel stronger in it? All right, I'll see you next time. Have a great day.